balance has to be one of the most fundamental pieces of our human physiology, because if you don't have your balance, right, you're going to fall down, you're going to hurt yourself, you're not going to be able to interact with your environment. I like to think of it like this: if I were to always be wobbling around, never having my balance, would I ever be able to lift and hold anything? Would I ever be able to get tasks done? And for most of us, our balance is no problem, but especially after something like a head injury, or even if we've had that head injury for a long time or had it in the past, what can happen is we can have some fragmented lack of stability, and that stability basically can be cued into three different things, right? Balance is comprised of our body, right? Knowing where our body is compared to itself, our eyes, right? Where is the world around me? And our inner ear, which basically tells me where am I in relation to gravity and how am I moving around in my environment. And all three of those pieces come together to create the picture of you in your environment and your balance. So what we're going to talk about today is a super simple rehab strategy that we give to all of our concussion patients to start rebuilding some of the connections of the body, eyes, and inner ear, and that's going to be with gaze stability. So right now I'm using this Cartesian Cross diagram. You can go ahead and download that. Down in the description there's a little link to the PDF of this Cartesian Cross. On the back side, or on the second side of that printout, is going to be kind of this linear, just straight line with dots. You can go ahead and grab that, download it, print it out. And what we'll do is we're going to use the cross today just to demonstrate very simplistic gaze stability. In future videos, we'll talk about how do we start to use all these other dots, what can I do in specific planes, right? If I move my head side to side versus up and down, what does that mean? What if I move my head in different angles? But we're going to first start off with just a simple singular dot. So how I want to set this up is I want to be sitting in a chair, right? When it comes to how to integrate things into the body, sitting down is less intense than standing up, and standing up is less intense as moving, let's say walking on a treadmill or something like that, which is less intense as actually walking outside as our visual environment moves. But starting off, we're going to be sitting down in our chair. I want this center dot to be right at eye level and about arm's distance away. So for right here, that seems perfect for me. So I'm going to lock that in with our little tack here. Get that nice and secure. And what I'm going to do is basically, there are a couple of different ways that we can do gaze stability. To boil it down, we have horizontal, i.e. when I turn my head left or right. We call this no gaze stability, right? Because I'm nodding my head no. And then there's the vertical plane. So nodding my head up and down, that's going to be a yes. So I have no-nos and I have yes-s's. Yes-s's. Anyways, so what I can do to start off with very simplistic gaze stability is starting off on my center dot, right? I'm sitting nice and straight, looking directly at the dot. All I'm going to do is nod my head no, side to side. I don't want to be looking so far off to the side that I can only see it with one eye because my nose blocks it. I want to just be right, somewhat centered, so I still have both eyes locking in on that target. So I'm here, nodding my head no, nice and controlled. What I'm trying to feel is, do my eyes feel like they're locked onto the target? Do my eyes become fatigued? Do I want to blink a lot? Do my eyes feel like they shake a little bit and the actual dot is a little blurry? There are a few things that we can kind of look out for to know that are my reps, right, of this gaze stability good and clean, right? Because realistically, again, just like all of our other rehabs, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And this is especially the case when we're working with the nervous system, right? We always want our nervous system to be dialed in and rock steady. So we're going to do the exact same thing with this. The way I like to kind of get a barometer is go, okay, I'm going to grab my dot and I'm just going to get going, right? So I'll gaze, stabilize, do the exercise. And when I feel my eyes start to move off the target, right? I start to fail the reps, I'm going to note that. So let's say I'm looking at the target and I do it 10 times and then my eyes feel a little weird. They feel a little tired. Maybe there's a little shake. My eyes jumped to a different dot. They basically just said, I'm done looking at this middle circle. I will note that. So in this example, we stopped at 10. I'm gonna do about 60% of that to make sure that I'm still having really, really good reps through this. So I would then, for my exercises, do 6 no-nos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would relax, taking some deep belly breaths, right? Letting that nervous system kind of regain its energy, right? Just like when we're working out, right? We don't just go from one exercise directly to the other unless we've been appropriately trained, and that's a part of our programming. But we want to give ourselves rest, right? That way the systems can rebuild their energy. So that was no. We could do the exact same thing with yeses. So again, nice and neutral, right at the dot. I want to go down and up. Because my eyes will still be able to look at the target, I'll be able to have both eyes locked in. I don't want to be going so far back that my eyes feel like they go a little cross-eyed or anything like that. Just about 10, let's call it 20 degrees up and down. Same idea though, we're locked in on that target. If I feel like that target moves at all, if my eyes get tired or watery or dry, any sort of change in sensation in your eyes, or even you can feel your eyes move off of target or a little shake in that target, that's going to be the rep failure. Again, denote when that is. So let's say with up and down, maybe I hit 6, right? So on that 6th rep, I get a little shake. I'm going to go, okay, 60% of that, we'll just ballpark and call it 4 reps, right? So I'm going to keep my eyes locked on the target. 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax, close my eyes, take some deep breaths, right? Lots of restorative practices with that. But that's going to be our generalized starting off gaze stability. Now, because gaze stability is part of our everyday life, it's something that we do need to practice every day, especially if we know that we have concussions and balance issues and that kind of stuff. Until we start to get that remedied, this is going to be practicing our fundamentals. Just like with normal resistance training or aerobic exercise, we have these fundamentals that we do, whether that's running, squatting, overhead pressing, all these movements that we do all the time. It's the same thing with gaze stability. So we want to make sure that we're practicing these quite frequently. For my concussion patients, I usually recommend 4 or 5 times a day of their specific gaze stability exercise. Now, if you have not been working with a professional on this, right, I would definitely start off with just the center dot, work through, find your points of fatigue, right, when you start to fail your rep. Again, 60% of that, start working through that. That's a great place to start. But I would highly recommend working with an individual that is trained in vestibular rehab and concussion management to find out, okay, is it an inner ear disorder, or is that inner ear involved, and maybe we need to work a little bit in that plane. We'll have some videos coming out in the future about that, but it still makes it way easier, and we're going to expedite the process if you're working with a professional on that. So again, 4 to 5 times a day of this, however many reps, is 60% of whatever rep that you fail at. Play around with that. Let us know in the comments if that's helping out, if you need a little more explanation. The more feedback we get from you guys, the more we can give back to you.